Hey everybody, and welcome to That 90s Spider-Man show, but not as you know it, again. We're talking about not the animated series, not by a long shot, we're talking about Spider-Man Far From Home, because it's come out, by the time you get this, it's probably been out for a while, but we've just seen it. We've been holding on to our thoughts for the last 3 days. I've been bursting to talk about it, so has Jack, and we thought we might as well record it. I'm one of your co-hosts today, I'm Henry, and alongside me is your other co-host, is Jack.
Hey. I was like gonna say my name and I was like, oh, I'm too tired, I'll let Henry talk.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Do you want to just do my part for me?
I'll just be you. I'll just like jump to the other side of the microphone
you
and come
go,
back.
you go, I like movies, and then you put on my voice and go, I hate everything.
When did you become the Grinch? What would the Grinch's like movie preferences be? Do you think he'd be a fan of the Hulk?
I think the Grinch is just like every fucking guy on film Twitter. It's not even that. He likes Fight Club. It's fine. Like, it's not that deep. Not that deep.
Yeah, he'd be a fan of The Matrix and probably like a big DC fan, I feel like.
I think he's just a big... He calls himself a film buff, but that means he's watched the top 100 films on IMDb.
Yeah. His favourite director is Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I'd be down for like a Grinch, like Tarantino film as well. As in like a Tarantino film with the Grinch rather than like a Grinch directed film where Tarantino is the main character. That would be...
Why would I think that? Why would that be... Why would you ever need to correct yourself?
I don't know, I thought I phrased it weirdly and I was like, that's not what I meant, but it sounded like what I meant.
Right. We're not talking about the Grinch. We're talking about Spider-Man Far From Home, the sequel to...
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, we're talking about Spider-Man 2 3.
Spider-Man 2 3 2. No.
What the hell? No.
2 2 3. The second film of the third franchise. But the second time? I don't know.
It's the third Spider-Man 2.
It's the third Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
It says Spider-Man 2 3.
That's exactly what I just said.
Oh.
I said Spider-Man 2 3.
Oops. So, bringing this right back around, let's just kick right in the first gear. What did you think of Spider-Man Homecoming? Because, like, I've talked about this with you a few times, and...
We talked about it on this show a little bit.
A little bit. And I know that you like it, but you don't like it maybe as much as I do.
Yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming is a weird one, because I feel like if I'm to talk to someone about it, it'd be easy to sound like you put me in the camp of, this guy doesn't like Homecoming, or that he's one of these guys who are like, not my Spider-Man sort of thing. Actually, I think Homecoming is really, really good. I just find it frustrating because I think there's a few things in it that aren't executed well enough, that if they were, would put it in the big leagues, like one of the best Spider-Man movies, one of the best superhero movies. And that's where like a lot of my frustration from the movie comes from. It is like it sets itself up for something incredible and then kind of falls short in a few ways that every time I watch it, I get keyed up like, oh my god, maybe I've changed my mind, and it doesn't quite land it, and it ends up becoming a bit more, I don't know, in the average sort of spectrum a little bit more.
Yeah, I think like for our MCU rankings, we have them in very similar places.
Yeah.
In that, like, we're having like, the middle tier of like, this is really, really fun and entertaining, but it's not quite like up there.
Yeah.
But it's rewatchable enough, and it's entertaining.
There's that bit where Michael Keaton has Peter in the backseat and he pulls a gun on him, and it's one of the best MCU scenes.
It's fantastic, yeah.
And the movie peaks there, and then from then on, it's just like a lesser version of itself and doesn't really land all the stuff it sets up for me anyway. And I think that's why it's kind of a bit of a bummer. But I think a lot of MCU movies do that. It's just like usually they're not as strong to start with, and not as, I don't know. It's rare to feel blindsided by one of these movies, especially when I know the things that they're adapting quite well.
I think the MCU's been pretty good in like not adapting them completely faithfully.
Yeah, or they're adapting them in spirit, which leads us definitely into this movie, which is, I think, this isn't me saying it's one of the best MCU movies or anything, but it's definitely one of the best superhero movies in terms of adaptation, because I think there's definitely, as we saw with Zack Snyder's Watchmen, adapting something panel by panel doesn't mean it's a good adaptation.
Especially you don't understand the subtext or anything behind it.
Yeah, it's way more important to understand what is behind something, rather than either going super close to it or thinking, wow, we need to subvert expectations so much that's just go completely off.
Yeah.
You know, because we don't want to do anything remotely close to comics, which is a lot of issues that superhero movies had pre Iron Man.
Especially like the X-Men movies, I think, or something that they kind of like didn't do that very well with.
Or when they did get close to the comics, they have to do it in a way of like, hey, look, we did the yellow costumes for 2 minutes. Look at it.
Yeah. Now back to this black leather that Wolverine always wears because he's secretly like an S&M model or something.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of drifted into Far From Home again. Yeah. But before we talk about what we're actually meant to be talking about here,
Buckleman folks,
I mean, what are your feelings on Homecoming generally?
I think similar. Like I had a load of fun with it.
A load,
like an actual like a laundry load of fun with it. It was fun to like.
I should imagine that on a poster.
Yeah,
a laundry load of fun. Henry Smith,
fresh out of the dryer.
That 90s Spider-Man show.
A laundry load of fun.
I got Photoshop that later.
That's great. But no, like laundry and like fabric softener aside, I think that like. Especially coming off of like the back of like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was
the best Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. So it was hard to live up to all that. I think obviously Tom Holland is fantastic as Peter Parker. I think that's like something that's been like consistent all the way throughout like his MCU ship, if that's a word. It's not a word. I think there were some things where like I was expecting like character things, like I think the plot, for example, was like believable enough, but I feel like a lot of like it just happened to him. Like he wasn't really in control of the story, so to speak. We'll have to talk about Homecoming, right?
We have to.
I'm going to have to go into detail.
Well, yeah, but also, I think we will give Homecoming its full episode at some point. So okay. We don't need to go super deep, but
yeah, just like basic things are like you go through the acts and you'd be like, what is Peter Parker actually? What's his decision here? And he's not really like in control of the story. It just happens to him.
Yeah, I think that's what frustrated me a lot with that, because at the end of the movie, they kind of they have the start of the arc and they have the end of the arc, but then nothing in between relates to any of it. So he kind of, I don't know, he gets to a point where he's like, I have to change. He's at the change point, and then he doesn't change or act in a different way, and then at the end everyone acts as if
he's changed
and he's like, I've changed. But I think it's almost like that kind of stuff in movies frustrates me a lot.
It's a structure thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that's also just a hang up of mine, so I think I get more annoyed about it than others would. But with Far From Home,
I don't know about you, but I'm kind of thinking that like that particular gripe is something they kind of addressed here.
I think they have, in a sense.
Okay.
But before we get into it, I just want to talk, like, what was your, as a preamble to this, when you're speaking about Far From Home, what were you hoping for and expecting from a Spider-Man Homecoming sequel after Homecoming came out? And did any of that change after his appearances in Infinity War and Endgame?
That's a good question, actually. I kind of wanted him to just be Spider-Man a lot more, in the sense that he spent a lot of Homecoming just kind of being on training wheels. Like, literally, the training wheels exercise and all that. But, like, he kind of felt like a intern still, rather than, like, actual, like, Spider-Man, like, actually taking a level of responsibility for being comfortable in his powers. And as a result, the action scenes in Homecoming, and when you know what Spider-Man can do physically, they weren't really on that level just yet. There's not really any scenes of him, like, really, like, properly, like, flipping around, like, doing cool shit with webs, which is something that, like, the Raimi don't really do at all. And the Amazing Spider-Man series kind of do in parts. And I was a bit disappointed, but also kind of a bit like, there's no real time for him to be like the Spider-Man that everyone's kind of like used to being. It was very much like not like a prequel, but like a pilot episode, I guess, of Spider-Man. To speak.
It was very much like those there's a lot of comics back in the day where they would try and launch, they do it now actually, they try and launch a new character through someone else's book. Like, or introduce a new character, they try and make it a big thing.
Yeah.
But they'll be like a side character in someone else's story, and then from that point if they're popular enough, they'll get their own series. If no one likes them, then they'll just stay a supporting character.
Yeah.
In a way, I think it sounds super harsh, but I think that's kind of that. It's almost like Iron Man coming into the room with his arm around Spider-Man, going like, hey guys, look at this guy, he can do some cool stuff too. Like, I promise, he's really cool.
Yeah.
And kind of Peter being introduced via Tony Stark
Yeah.
into the MCU. I don't think they should have gone as far with it as they did, but it definitely could have been a lot worse in terms of that. It isn't like... It isn't Iron Man 4, but it almost is a little bit.
I think the Iron Man movie is just up to the limit. I think any more Iron Man would have gotten, like, excessive.
Yeah.
But I also think that, like, that was probably intentional, in the sense that, like, obviously this is the third, but it's what, 2017 that came out, right?
Yeah.
In the last 10 years, that's 3 different Spider-Men then to have been through the media collective. And I think Marvel were like, will this actually work if we have a Spider-Man film so close after the other Spider-Man film? And they were testing for fatigue, for sure. And they were like, will this character work? How will people respond to him? And they kind of saw the reaction. They were like, okay, people will go for this.
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to say. We're now, like, deep reviewing Homecoming.
Homecoming.
What I mean to say, forgetting... So you wanted him to be more comfortable in his skin. You wanted him to be more...
I wanted
of
to
his
like
own guy.
Spider-Man work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what were you expecting in terms of just like plot and stuff before we knew anything about what this movie was about?
Yeah.
Did you have like, I wanted them to do this kind of story, I wanted them to focus on this villain? Like, was there anything you had in your head of what they wanted? What kind of story would you want? What kind of subject?
I can't, like, to be honest, like, with Spider-Man films, I find my, like, expectations often quite low. Because I think the problem with Spider-Man is that, like, I'm going to probably touch upon this later, but, like, because he's such a popular hero, because he's the most recognisable superhero there is, I think it's really, really easy to get, like, to over-expect things. But I kind of, like, I dig his, like, aesthetic, I dig like, the general, like, themes of the stories that he tells. I'm kind of like, yeah, just give me some Spider-Man, have him do Spider-Man things. And as long as you can get that basic, like, Spider-Man plus Peter Parker, the basic elements of it right, I think I'm pretty easy to kind of please.
So you weren't like, I want Man-Wolf.
I mean, I always want Man-Wolf, and no. As long as you can do a good story with it, and I can have fun with it, I don't really care.
I think there's enough in the Rogues Gallery for them to like branch out and try different things, and I mean, I kind of got exactly what I wanted because I got Mysterio.
Yeah.
If anyone's listened to
Episode
5, everybody loves Mysterio. Fucking love Mysterio. Yeah. Mysterio is my guy.
Mysterio is his guy.
I was so fucking happy when they announced this, and then I immediately became a bit fearful because I was like, are they going to be so afraid of Mysterio's weirdness that they're going to do something that isn't Mysterio? Are they just going to go out of their way to not make it Mysterio? And I'm really pleased to say that they did Mysterio.
They fucking did Mysterio.
They did Mysterio, but again, like I was saying about adaptations, they took so much about Mysterio in this movie is so close to the comics, but also everything he did in this didn't happen in the comics. If you know what I mean, like the
like the feel of the character was right.
Yeah, and the underlying personality and ambitions and everything is effectively the same.
But it's just not been done in the way you've seen before.
And also Jake Gyllenhaal, like, fucking hell, like, what perfect casting that guy is.
Yeah.
He can do the intensity, and he can do the... he is basically someone who's believable as the hero, but also there's something underneath.
Yeah, there's a kind of bubbling, like, intensity where, like, this guy's gonna fucking blow.
And that's part of him as an actor. That's kind of his persona, because he
can be the hero, and he can be, like, the Nightcrawler type of, like, crazy person.
Yeah, and he had, like, a lot of these more standard roles, and it doesn't work as well, because when he started, like, playing more unraveled, unstable characters, then you go, like, shit, this is what this guy's about.
This was, yeah.
But yeah, love Mysterio in this, and he was a great choice for this movie. And I think we haven't had it in a little while, I don't think, but this is one of the times when you can tell that in general that MCU movies have been good at trusting in the material a little bit, because someone like Mysterio is someone who I think was a pipe dream for such a long time to appear as a cameo. You know, like that was the thing everyone wanted. We wanted, because he was going to be, Bruce Campbell was going to play him in Spider-Man 4 before that got cancelled. That was the most we could have ever hoped for, you know? Or maybe not even have Mysterio do anything, but just see him be arrested or something.
Yeah.
Because Mysterio is too silly to be in any movie. And I think the fact that they made him the main villain in this, but then they just expanded what he was about.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just, I think this is the best adaptation of a Marvel villain, maybe? Actually... Okay, that might be bullshit, because on the other hand, I think Ego and Killmonger are both
fantastic,
and they're both fantastic characters that have like their origins are way different. Like the Killmonger, I mean, I haven't read every Black Panther comic, but there's a lot of Killmonger that's not remotely like he is in the movie, but they took elements of that and made it into something. Ego,
That's a similar thing, I imagine.
yeah, there's basic elements of there, but like the way they made it involved in the themes of the movie and casting Kurt Russell and all that stuff, there's a lot of good stuff there.
Even to an extent, Thanos, I'd say.
Yeah, I more mixed feelings on Thanos, because Thanos is kind of not really the same character, which is fine. This is different, as in it is purely what the character is from the comics, but then just finding a different way to do it that is more appropriate for film.
Yeah.
Rather than just going the pitfalls of the Amazing Spider-Man movies of this character does this in the comics, therefore we will do it in the movie. This happens in so many comic book films and everyone gets excited about them doing the thing that they did in the comics, but then you're like, but why is it happening in this context? Shouldn't it be different?
Yeah.
Because we're in a movie and it's live action and we're not doing a serialized comic where it's a story every month. It's different, so you got to play it differently.
I think we put a pin in that, because I want to come back to that after like we get through the whole Far From Home thing, because I think that's probably a good point. But I think, I don't know about you, but in terms of the feel, I think out of all the Marvel, like all the Spider-Man films, this has felt most like a Spider-Man film. That makes sense?
Right.
Obviously, you have different aspects of Spider-Man Peter Parker, and I feel like the movies so far have kind of touched upon that in different ways. So, for example, I think, obviously, everyone says that Tobey Maguire's the best Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield's a good Spider-Man, Tom Holland's good at both. But I feel like the way, like, technology is used in the movie, I think the way, like, the visuals worked and all that kind of things, and, like, I guess as well, like, the story. I don't know much about, like, the Spider-Man comic as much as you would, but I feel like it felt like a Spider-Man kind of vehicle, more than, like, a film in general. I don't know if you'd agree. Like, I remember, like, going through, like, the different parts of, let's say, like, the final battle, and being like, this is weird and kind of quirky, but really, like, fun and sci-fi in a way. It's probably done that the best out of the movies so far, I'd say. And, yeah, if you had to kind of, like, assign Spider-Man, like, franchises to the cartoons, I'd probably say that the Raimi series is probably closest to the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. That's one we do in the regular podcast, by the way. I'd say the Amazing Spider-Man is probably closest to the MTV version.
Fucking hell. Alright.
But this one kind of reminded me a lot of the Spectacular Spider-Man.
Right. I think that fits, like, aesthetically and tonally.
Yeah.
A little bit. I wouldn't agree as much, because I feel like the quality aspect of that is different for me, because I wouldn't say... Because I'd say I think of Raimi movies being higher, and the Spectacular... Because the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon is, as far as my memory, like the best of it. And I wouldn't say this is the best of it.
No.
But, I mean, we're getting,
I think tonally, like, I kind of think tonally more than, like, the quality.
Yeah, well, and also the fact that Spectacular Spider-Man, like, sticks in high school.
Yeah.
One thing, like, before we've gone off on tangents...
Yeah.
tangents, and we've kind of gone into a little bit about the feel and Mysterio, obviously, but in general, like, what did you think of the movie? In terms, you said it's like very felt like a Spider-Man story and everything. I think we both kind of came into this not really expecting that much.
Yeah.
And you think it's good, presumably, but like, what are your general thoughts on it?
I've been thinking about it, and like, I had this sense of glee going out of it. And, like, I don't have the same level of glee as I did going out of the cinema, but, like, thinking about it, and thinking about how I would rank it, like, I'm going to give you a ranking of the Spider-Man films, but, like, I did enjoy it. Probably, like, I think it's the most fun Spider-Man film has ever been. Regardless of the quality or the longevity of it, I think it's the most fun. A lot of, like, the story stuff from Homecoming, for example, is rectified here. I feel like Peter Parker's a lot more, like, autonomous in his own story, which is my main gripe with Homecoming. And I think that, the villains are great. The way they kind of tie in different characters works a lot better. Like, the teenage stuff with him and Zendaya works really, really well. It's funny, it's fresh, and there's little bits where I was laughing all the way through it. In a way that, like, even with Homecoming, I wasn't laughing as much as I was here. I really liked it. Like, if I had to give, like, a rating, I'd probably say, like, a 4.5 stars.
Really?
Yeah.
5?
Yeah. Like, assuming Spider-Man 2 is, like, up there at 5, I think it's probably, like, with the first Spider-Man film.
Okay.
Yeah, like I feel like you're about to like tell me what like you're gonna bring back to the Earth a little bit, but like
Right.
yeah, like I had a great time with this.
I had a great time with this too.
Yeah,
I agree that it's like I don't know, maybe one of the most fun, I'd say, because it is very smooth sailing. You know, it's enjoyable. There's no real dips in it. There's no like, I mean, I didn't love everything in it, but like there's no part where I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, or that I would want to skip over if I was rewatching it. For me, it's kind of like it's definitely on the upper side of the Spider-Man movies.
yeah,
I still don't think it touches Spider-Man 1, 2, or Into the Spider-Verse.
are we counting Into the Spider-Verse in all this? Because I wasn't counting it.
I mean, I am, but
Okay.
I think there's definitely better Spider-Man films. I think this is a really enjoyable movie. I think that underneath it all, in terms of like the emotion, in terms of like the drama and what it means, I think it just like nails the tone and the enjoyment aspect, and it's like you said, it's really fun. I don't know if there's much underneath it, is the thing. And I think once the glee of watching it kind of dissipates, and I think maybe rewatching it, it's going to become one of those movies which is just like, you know, when you're like, oh, I can't wait to rewatch this and discover new things, and you kind of go back and you're like, oh, there isn't really anything else going on here. But I think that makes it sound like I'm more negative than I am. I think that what elevates this is the Mysterio stuff, because I think the whole him being on a European trip is all fun. It's definitely for me a detour. Pre-warning, this isn't a quality comparison, but in the same way that of Iron Man 2,
Oh god.
which I like more than most people, but I admit it's not very good.
Yeah.
That was like a detour Iron Man film. That was like, here's some random shit that happened to Iron Man that doesn't really fucking mean anything.
Yeah.
And in a way, aside from a couple of things that happened right at the end of this movie, I feel like this, as a whole, wasn't that consequential in any way.
It's very low stakes.
Very low character stakes, like not necessarily in a bad way. It just felt like another Spider-Man movie hit. Now Spider-Man is going to do this like European trip thing. Saying that, with the injection of Mysterio and the way Jake Gyllenhaal plays him and the way the action works in this movie, it then elevates what felt kind of fun but flimsy into something that was like way more immersive and absorbing.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I don't know if you agree with this particular comparison, but it was like, if Spider-Man Homecoming was a pilot episode, this was a really, really good like mid-season episode of a Spider-Man TV show.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of going out of it like I want more Spider-Man, which would be fine if it was a TV show, but like it didn't feel like a movie in that respect.
Yeah, well that's the thing, and this same fucking question comes up every time with the MCU stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's something that's never going to be answered.
Yeah.
Because there's the people who are going to defend every MCU movie to their last breath, because any problem that you have can be solved next time, because this is a series. This isn't a movie. It's a series of movies that are interweaving.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, you've got the diehard people who are like, if a movie doesn't work on its own, it's not a movie. You know, that it has to do it on its own terms, and I don't care what else it connects to.
Yeah.
I kind of fall in between. I do like the idea of serialized storytelling in the movies. I think it's a really fun thing. I think it has traditions in like going back like decades.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect of it, and I think that's why I kind of weave in and out of this, because I think this is a movie, and if it's unclear, I don't know if anyone's listened to this who hasn't seen it, but if anyone was wondering, I was kind of really expecting this to be like we've kind of been trained to, a part 2 out of a trilogy.
Yeah.
And in the end, it really didn't feel, it felt like a part 2 out of a 4 at the least.
It felt like something of a TV show, for sure.
Exactly, which is, again, like when you think of it in those terms, I think my estimations of it actually go up.
Yeah.
But you do have to kind of calibrate yourself for, okay, I'm watching a different kind of movie, and I don't know, I do have mixed feelings on this, but I almost feel like the ambition for this film was different than Homecoming. My frustration with Homecoming was that it was saying we've got this arc that ends in this movie, and this is a story about Peter Parker changing and realizing
becoming an Avenger.
and and a coming of age thing and all this stuff, and I felt like he was aiming for all that and then missing the mark. This movie, I feel like there wasn't really that much. They weren't like trying to change Peter Parker, really. They weren't trying to teach much of a lesson.
If anything, he was resisting change, if anything.
Yeah, and it felt like the ambition was low, which I think will maybe piss people off, but I was kind of expecting that going in. I was going in thinking, this is going to be inconsequential. It's going to be my favourite character, but I'm not going to give a shit about anything that happens to him.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's a fun time. Hopefully I laugh at a couple of jokes.
Yeah.
And not only did they do that, but I did care about what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never... I think at this point it's almost pointless for me to compare it to like Raimi movies or whatever because this is something very different. It's not my perfect Spider-Man movie. I think I still would like something that was more self-contained. There's definitely nitpicks in here, but in general, like I had a really good time, and I'm not going to go back to watch it in the cinema, but I am going to watch it again, and I think it'll be something I'm looking forward to seeing again. Yeah.
I could watch this movie many, many times, but like it's not really like we watched it in like a very like intimate kind of cinema setting. I remember going into it thinking that I'd rather prefer this because I would rather watch this in my living room. And it's nothing to do with the quality of the film, but it's a very like it's an intimate kind of viewing. It's not like a Black Panther or like a very celebratory like movie event. You know, it's not an Avengers in that sense. It's really, really good. It's not necessarily something you're going to go to cinema and see lots of times because there's no need.
Yeah, I think maybe I would have when I was younger, when I was more like... Because I saw Iron Man 2 like, twice in the cinema.
Jesus Christ.
I saw like a lot of these movies I saw like a minimum of 3 times in the cinema. Yeah, and then when they were ones I really like Avengers, I saw them like 6 times.
Jesus.
You know, I went nuts with this stuff. It was almost like I almost killed a lot of these movies for myself because I don't know, I feel like I would have conversations with people about them, very deep, nerdy conversations, and then realise that they watched it once, and then they were thinking of maybe watching it again. I'm like, oh, I'm in a different level right now because I've overthought this so much because I watched it 3 times within like 3 weeks, and then watched it again on whatever. I'm like going off on a tangent, but with Far From Home, I was very happy coming out of it, and I think a lot of that did come from low expectations, and also, you know what, it's ice cream. It's an ice cream movie. Yeah. It's I don't know, Raimi is like a hearty
steak.
Raimi, not the director. The director.
Yeah, he's that's Sam Raimi.
He's a dish. No, like the
medium rare steak.
The Spider-Man 1 and 2 are like you know, these wonderful, filling, healthy meals. This was just like some amazing tasting ice cream, you know? It was some sugary treat that like was great, but like it's not really going to do anything for me in the long run, you know?
It's going to give you diabetes in the long run.
I can't. They can't keep doing this. They can't keep doing this. They got to give me a meal at some point. Okay, and that is I can see how some people would be disappointed because this is again, for me, a little bit of we're postponing the Spider-Man movie again in a way. And I know this is kind of opposite of what you said, but I think they kind of work. We're using the same language, but we mean different things. But in some ways, this wasn't a Spider-Man movie in that I do think the friendly neighborhood setting is quite important. And I think when you remove it from that, and when he is going on an adventure out of his comfort zone, directed by S.H.I.E.L.D. and all this stuff going on outside him, where he's being pulled into this thing, that's a cool idea for a story, and it's a lot of Peter Parker goodness in it. But in terms of actually Spider-Man, I feel like they're still postponing that because the first one was about like, what if Spider-Man wanted to be an Avenger and is interacting with the MCU?
Yeah.
And then this is, what if Spider-Man left New York and did all this other stuff? And it would be cool at some point to see what if Spider-Man. But I think that they've moved away because they don't want people to get bored because we got some Spider-Man movies, you know?
Yeah.
It's just a shame that there was like 3 of them in the road that were bad, that were trying to do the Spider-Man in New York stuff. But I still think they should go back and do this. And I think that's what we'll get next one. I'm fine with this being a detour.
As far as detours go, this is the best kind of detour.
See, that's the thing, right? I think there's a lot of stuff in this movie that personal pet peeves for me that we've talked about before in terms of the MCU. I think this is the best of a bad situation, you know?
Okay.
I don't like that the sequel to Homecoming has to be a sequel to Endgame more than it is a sequel to Homecoming. That it has to deal with Tony Stark's death, that it has to be related to S.H.I.E.L.D. and all these extra things, and then there has to be references to stuff that if you didn't know, then you'd be a bit confused in the story. I don't like that it isn't self-contained, but if that's the kind of Spider-Man movie we're gonna get, this is the best version of it.
Yeah.
I was very worried, because I love Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark, but I was getting kind of sick and tired of like everything being about him, because Infinity War was kind of about him. Endgame was about him. Age of Ultron was about him. Avengers was about him. Iron Man 1, 2, 3 obviously about him. Civil War
was
half about him, even though it's not his movie. Homecoming kind of about him, and then he's dead. Spoilers. And he's in the movies about him, and I saw that in the trailers, and I was like, I know they had to do it, but I was also, please don't let this be another movie that's about Tony Stark when he's gone. And the way they dealt with it, I was really happy with.
I just really miss him.
Yeah, I miss him too.
One last thing before we get into like spoilers.
Yeah, because this has all been spoiler free, as you've probably noticed.
Because we're trying to tiptoe around it slightly. What do you think of the supporting cast in general?
I really like them. My favourite character was that, like, the kid, the still scoring kid, who, like, got blipped. Who didn't get blipped, sorry, he's, like, 5 years older than everyone else. And he's trying to get with MJ.
Right.
And he's, like, this fully on 21.
Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fucking love Brad.
Unfortunately, there's a pivotal Brad scene that I missed because I went for a pee.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a fucking supernatural sense to know when to pee in MCU movies. In Infinity War, you know when I peed? I peed when fucking Thor was throwing rocket around that dead star. And they spent like 5 minutes trying to reignite the star. I left, ran, peed, came back, hoping no one had died since I'd left. Got back in, and then they were like, oh no, he's getting hit by the sun.
Yeah.
And then he gets downed, and I missed no information that I needed.
It was just
In
like...
fact, I missed probably the most boring part of the whole movie, and still got to see the best part of that scene with Groot. So...
Like, you picked the only part in Infinity War where you could have left.
Yeah. I think I was pretty good with this one, because I came out, and as far as I can tell, I missed some jokes about this character Brad, who is the kind of romantic rival. I just missed a bit of this
Brad
dynamic.
Yeah.
But so I might not have like a whole lot to say about Brad, because you got the end of it. But I did like him as an inclusion in it, and it is an example of one of the ways in which they managed to make their weird situation in the MCU work.
Yeah. And like, even the way they kind of did the blip, that's what they're calling the snap, by the way, in this movie, the blip. How they did it in like just the beginning, like that first opening scene.
Yeah.
I thought it was really funny.
It's a really hard way to balance it, and we talked about this before in our Spider-Man's Infinite Endgame, that episode where we talked about Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
I was quite worried about how they would deal with it in this, because I felt like they're going to have to breeze over it because they can't spend the whole time on it, but it's still going to be a waste of time, and it's still going to feel like they've set themselves up to have this really deep situation, and they're going to have to be flippant about it. And they were flippant about it in this movie, but somehow it really worked.
There's an irreverence to it, but it wasn't like... It wasn't like we were being glib about it. It was just, we can make this funny, but we can make it very resounding, I guess. Resonant is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I don't think there's a... I think that's just like a magic touch to that. Like, it's either good or it's not. I don't know how they made it work, but they did. As far as the supporting cast, I really liked everyone here. It's mostly the same people from last time, with a few minor additions, and I think it's all great.
Or JB Smooth.
Yeah, as
the other like teacher.
As the most pointless character in the world.
But like, yeah, true.
A funny character who every single line of his could have been given to a different character.
But I'm glad it was JB Smooth, because I like his delivery. His delivery is one of my favourite deliveries in all of film and TV. The only person I missed was like the African boy from the first movie.
Oh, I can't really remember, to be honest.
The one where like the one is always like, yeah, Flash is wrong, or we're going to die in here. That one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
just...
forgot about him until just this moment, so I didn't miss him. It turns out
I missed him. Like, because like he's just there to talk shit to Flash.
See, that would be another negative for this movie for me. And I think maybe symptomatic of the whole thing is supporting cast, I think, are great, really entertaining, defined like characters of like you can know all their personalities. I don't think any of them really weighed into anything. Like I think the best kind of movies would take a cast like that, give them fun interactions, but also give them something to do in terms of their characters, in terms of their relation to Peter Parker. But it felt like, again, it was like everyone's relationships are kind of staying the same, but we're having fun with it. So there's no real change.
I kind of agree. I think like Ned has like a little bit of a contribution to the plot, but not really much.
I don't even really mean the plot as much as I mean like the... Okay, well, I can't really go into this without spoilers.
We'll get to this in a second, folks. But yeah, I think the problem with like these films compared to like the Raimi films is that these films are primarily comedies. And if you look at them as like action films, like the Sam Raimi version was, then obviously they don't match up. But as comedies, I think they're actually really good as comedies.
I don't think that there is necessarily an opposition there. That's why I'm saying of like the best kind. Yeah. I mean like top tier movie would manage to find a way to like sneak that drama and that character change and shit in there along with the comedy, and it wouldn't detract from it. It would just be there on top just to deepen it.
Yeah.
And that would be the best version. But and again, I got like a lot of nitpicks with this movie, but they are nitpicks because none of them actually bothered me. And it's a weird thing because in a way, I wouldn't know whether to put Homecoming or Far From Home above each other. Because I definitely enjoyed Far From Home more. Definitely have more frustrations with Homecoming. But I think like Homecoming was like close to greatness. This wasn't aiming for greatness, if you know what I mean. It's this weird thing where they end up being sort of similar to me. I think this is more consistent, whereas Homecoming has like higher highs and lower lows, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do kind of get what you mean.
Anyway,
I think in the sense of like the Spider-Man films, as you can like describe the Raimi ones, I feel like Homecoming was going for that more than this was. If that's what you mean.
Well, I think Homecoming was still like an out and out like comedy, trying to be a teen comedy with a few drama things thrown in,
But I feel the drama things were like more in there than they were here.
Yeah, but all in all, if we're like summing up before we move into spoilers, this is like heavy recommend for me. Yeah. But again, don't expect
the Raimi films.
Yeah, and don't expect... Well, I mean, never expect the Raimi films, but don't expect your life to be changed. I'm quite surprised that this movie seems to be getting like incredibly mixed reception from what I've seen. In terms of the fan base stuff, I've seen people who are like, this is one of the best Spider-Man movies ever. This is the best Spider-Man movie. Like, really hyperbolic stuff. And then people being like, this is garbage.
I don't think it's bad in anything that it does.
I don't really understand either of those point of view for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that. I think I can understand maybe people getting carried away with certain... Because the things it does land, it really lands. Again, Mysterio.
Bullseye's, Bullseye's Mysterio. Oh my God.
But anyway, unless you have anything outside, do you want to like skip over to some spoilers?
Okay, yeah. I was going to say, heavy recommend for me as well. Yeah, like, I'm going to echo a lot of what Jack said in that, like, it's not the heavy, like, dramatic, epic film. But, like, what it does extremely well, and you're going to have a great time doing it. And watching it. Doing it? Don't know why I said doing it. But yeah, that's the spoiler-free version of this.
We'll give you 5 seconds of time to wait. We'll give you a little musical interlude. Fuck it. Here's some music.
Here's some music.
J.K. Simmons.
Holy shit! Oh my God.
We're gonna wait several days to do that.
Oh my God, yeah. I've been holding on to that for fucking ages.
Right. Maybe we'll get into this more towards the end of our spoiler section because it's from the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But they did it. They fucking did it. This is another reason why I don't think my opinion can be trusted of this movie. The minute that happened, I was like, I don't know if this movie is good or not. Because that is, I don't know. It's like they just gave me like they just gave me like a wad of cash as I left the cinema, and then just like, be objective, and I'm like, thanks, like.
It's like injected like heroin straight into my veins. I was like, oh my, you just came out of it high.
He's just pupils dilated. I love Spider-Man.
I love Spider-Man. This is the best movie of all time. Yeah, that's my feeling as well. Is that like, you could have given me any movie, but it would have been worth it for that end credit scene.
And it is. I mean, we'll get into it more later about the specifics of that scene, but I will say that obviously all these movies, the more they go on, they can drop in more Easter eggs, more developments, more like, here's this new character that you didn't expect. Here's a character hinting at something that will happen in the future.
Yeah.
They're always going to drop that stuff in, and that stuff's always like a little bit fun.
Yeah.
I've got to say, it's been a long time in these movies since I've been excited about anything like that. I think a lot of the post-credit stuff is kind of, or any Easter eggs or teasers, I've kind of just been like, okay, yeah, you're doing the thing again.
Yeah. A for effort.
And I'm like, I really can't think about the last time. I think I enjoyed a lot of the teasers with Guardians 2 maybe, but even then I don't care about Adam Warlock that much.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, like, full disclosure, sorry to any comic book fans out there, but I think Adam Warlock sucks ass.
Official Not a Spider-Man podcast opinion. Fuck Adam Warlock.
Yeah, and Henry's saying that despite never reading a comic with him.
I trust your opinion.
Yeah, it's fair. I think everyone loves him in the same way everyone loves Beta Ray Bill as well. But anyway, yeah, this was just like one of those moments when I was just like, you got me. You just like, yeah, you gave me the adrenaline needle stabbed into my heart. Yeah, like right in the nerd. You got
stabbed me right in my nerd.
Yeah, and I just. Yeah, I came out of that kind of like giddy and hysterical, and then we kind of bottled it all up and said, let's not speak about this until we record, and that has been the major thing about it. I think there's obviously other stuff that we want to talk about, but
what was like with me is that I didn't see it coming at all.
No, I think that's it. I haven't been surprised. Like, I think all the surprises we've had lately have tended to be things which either I don't like or I have mixed feelings on, you know, in terms of like deviating from what you expect in these movies. And this, I did not see. We've even said this before, or I don't know if this was on recording or not, but my whole thing has been, if you're gonna do Daily Bugle, if you're gonna do J. Jonah Jameson. Did we even say J. Jonah Jameson? We just kept saying J.K. Simmons.
They knew what we mean.
Yeah, but
he's not going to be there as we play like fucking like Dr. Octopus, is he? Like...
Yeah. But I mean, if you're gonna do Jameson, if you're gonna do Bugle, either do sort of the Amazing Spider-Man thing. In Amazing Spider-Man 2, he says he works for Bugle. There's a shot of an email. He gets an email from J. Jonah Jameson that just says like wrong, and it's kind of like, we know that's Jameson, but they're not going to show it us, because if you cast anyone
who's not J.K. Simmons,
it's going to be wrong. And I honestly, I don't know if there's any other character in any of these movies that are like that, because
it's just inextricably linked to the role in the same way that like casting an Iron Man movie would be impossible, because
it's exactly that. Because in both those cases, and this is just my opinion, in both those cases the movie versions are better than the comic. I think Tony Stark in the comic has been uneven and sometimes kind of a shit character, personally. In the movies, like, Robert Downey Jr. has done some really good stuff with him. J. Jonah Jameson, I think, has been great in different mediums and everything, but JK elevated him to a point that it's just a whole nother thing.
I'm going to make another analogy. It's very much like you kind of have like Jack Nicholson as the Joker. And you think, this is a good Joker. You have Mark Hamill as the Joker. It's a good Joker. But like Heath Ledger, his Joker now kind of informs Jokers moving forward. He is the peak. You're never going to get to that point again.
See, I think it's even more past that.
Yeah.
I think this is the peak of that, because I think there's still variations on the Joker that can be better.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a point where people thought that JB Smoove was going to play.
I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, because they cast him and they didn't say who he was going to be.
Yeah.
Or I think maybe they'd said something about him being a teacher, but people thought it was a fake thing. He kind of fit the role, and I was kind of into that. I was going to let him try, and I was going to be like, it's not going to be JK, but
it's gonna be
that happened. And then when he turned up and he didn't do it, I really thought, I was like, I guess they're just not going to do the Bugle thing.
Yeah. It didn't occur to me that there was an option at this point.
I think the first thing I said after I saw it was, how the fuck did they keep that a secret? Like,
I don't like.
you know what? I know how they did it. They fucking just filmed it in J.K. Simmons' house because like he doesn't in that shot he does not look. He doesn't have the same hair,
He's
facial
bald,
hair,
yeah.
because he's older and everything. But he looks a lot.
It's got like an Alex Jones vibe about him.
Yeah, and he's at the desk, and it's kind of like he could have just webcammed that in, and then he just like superimposed it or something.
Just get like a green screen at his own house and be like, yeah, just send this in whenever. Send him a WeTransfer, JK. Yeah, like I think I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm just feeling that giddiness again, just talking about it.
I think personally we should, like, if we're gonna do the spoiler stuff, let's like rewind. We had to get the JK shit out of our system, but before we talk about the end of the movie, let's
Talk about the beginning.
let's talk about the actual movie.
Okay.
One thing I'll say, obviously, there was a lot in the marketing. The way they dealt with Iron Man's death, I think, was great.
I thought it was awesome.
I remember seeing a tweet of something being like, you just know there's going to be a Tony Stark hologram in this movie. And I was like, fuck, I don't need another one of him making a speech, or some old video or something. Like, they were going to find a way. Instead, they did something which I thought was really great. When he gets the Edith glasses, there's the note with it, which is written in such a Tony Stark way.
Yeah.
Even though I think, is it Samuel L. Jackson who reads it out? I'm not sure.
I think it might be either Peter Parker or Edith herself saying it.
I think it must have been Edith. But either way, it's not Tony Stark's voice, but it's such a Tony Stark line.
Yeah.
And then I liked that there's a very brief conversation about Tony Stark with Happy.
Hogan, yeah.
But a lot of it is kind of Peter Parker doing his thing, and then they just keep going past murals of just like graffiti of Iron Man or Tony Stark in the background, and it's the fact that they're going around the world, or they're going around Europe, and they're seeing him in these different cities. It's kind of a great visual way to be like, not only is this been a big event that's affected the world, but also it's in the background of Peter Parker's mind.
Yeah.
But he's not necessarily sort of addressing it. It's just
He's deliberately ignoring it.
yeah, and he's just walking away from it and trying to get away. And I liked that. And I that's again one of those things I wish, I don't know, there was not really a resolution there as much as there could have been, but I also liked that they didn't go into it a lot.
Like, it could have very much been a point of, like, Peter hits his low point and then Iron Man's words come to him in a similar way that it happened in Homecoming. And that will piss me off, to be honest.
Yeah, beyond that, speaking of Happy, again, personally, not really. Happy's fine as a character.
I don't think he needs to have as much time as he does in these movies.
I just and having him again in this, I was like, I don't know if I need another Iron Man story presence in here. Like, he has enough cast members by himself. I don't really need that. I really liked Happy in this. I mean, he's funny and everything.
Yeah, Jon Favreau is great.
And I think it's one of the actual emotional arcs that works the best for me, and one of the few ones they actually sort of tried to pull off in this was him unofficially taking on a stepdad role. And it's obviously there's jokes about that, but I thought that's all they were going to do with it. But the point, I mean, we're kind of skipping ahead, but the point when you get to near the end of the movie and Peter Parker's at a real low point, and then Happy comes in to like help him and to take him to the final battle or whatever. The way that's played is played like almost exactly like, a kid goes to a party and has a really bad time and asks his stepdad to pick him up at 3 a.m. and they kind of feel ashamed of what they've done, but then
they're a bit antagonistic towards their stepdads. But their stepdad like steps up and goes like, "No, you've got it all inside you all along." Yeah,
and they don't like chastise them. They like support them, and then you realize that they were like there for you the whole time. I thought that was a really good idea that was played like quite so enough. I think that really worked for me, and then that kind of really it legitimized his presence in the movie, which otherwise would have just
been a bit of a joke.
Should
we like go back to the beginning, just like go through the movie?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I can't. What happened in this movie?
Okay, so we start off obviously with Peter like going to a public event as Spider-Man.
They've cut stuff out of this movie, right?
The trailer
has him fighting people in the Iron Spider suit.
I kind of prefer they didn't have that.
I mean, I would have liked to have seen it, but I don't think it's necessary to the movie.
I think it would harm the movie's like initial like starting out point. because the whole like run through this first like third of the film is Peter doesn't really want to be Spider-Man, and to
Yeah.
have him be Spider-Man, do the whole like fight bad guys, make quips, was something that I would like to see in any Spider-Man movie. But I feel like where it would have been put, wouldn't have worked with what the story was trying to tell.
I think it would have worked in the sense that I don't think it's that he doesn't want to be Spider-Man, is he doesn't want to face the new role that Spider-Man has. He doesn't want, there's all this stuff about him being the next Iron Man, that him being the lead Avenger now because the Avengers aren't really a thing, and all this stuff, and the idea of him being in the Iron Spider suit on stage in front of people is not a role he's in. So I think it almost would have worked if he was... Okay, well, now we're going into this weird territory of me writing a scene. But if he was, for instance, if they had him, regular costume, red and blue, fighting like criminals in a low-key way, no one knows he's doing it, he's just doing it because it's the right thing to do. And then juxtaposing that with him in the Iron Spider suit on stage in front of people, having to represent something, having to be a celebrity.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting in terms of like being like, okay, this is the Spider-Man he wants to be, but he's got all this extra pressure he doesn't really want.
Yeah.
Which is almost like a position a lot of celebrities in anyway. Like they want to do the thing, but the thing that comes with doing your thing
It's having to do all these other things.
Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily what they would have done with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't like. It's interesting you kind of read it that way because I thought that he didn't want to be Spider-Man at all.
Well, I think he definitely like, you know, he doesn't take the suit with him when he wants to go go away. But I think that's more. I think he wants to get away from being Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but I don't think it. I think that comes from.
It comes from it, obviously.
From what Spider-Man has become to him now.
Yeah.
So. There's not that, and it's not that a Spider-Man no more. It's a.
Oh no, it's not Spider-Man. No, not by a long shot. No.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is in like if you're having a juxtaposing thing of here's what Spider-Man is to Peter Parker, but now it's having to become this thing he doesn't want it to be, and he's like, okay, this is too much. I need a break, and he can't. I think that's also a really great dynamic in general for this movie of him trying to like just have a social life and then it be interrupted by the Spider-Man stuff. Because again, that is a very Peter Parker thing, and I think what you're speaking to about it being a Spider-Man movie in
terms
that
of
way.
like feel and tone, yeah.
Yeah, and I do like that aspect. If you again, this is the best version of this kind of direction, because if you're gonna have him be the Shield spy, I don't think it's a good idea to have Peter Parker really be into it.
He's gonna
love
hate
doing it,
yeah.
you know, and everything. You know what? I'm actually like the more we talk about this movie, the more I'm talking myself into liking it more.
I feel like I thought you were being a little bit harsh on it. To be honest, we'll get to this. We'll bottle this up.
I don't know. I just know that with any of these movies, there's giddiness, and I think that slowly dissipates, and then you get how you actually feel about it underneath. And I'm very curious about that. I'm really not. I'm trying to see the positive side of things, so I'm not. This isn't coming from a place of me being like not trusting my enjoyment of it. It's not something like that. I do think there are problems with it, but I almost feel like the problems don't matter that much to me.
Okay. So yeah, like he doesn't want to be Spider-Man. The whole like first third of the movie is him like trying to get close to MJ, played by Zendaya, of course. Obviously, like Liz is long gone by this point, and like they're kind of building up this Michelle relationship. It's obviously very like classic Peter Parker in that like he's trying to get laid. And you've got like Ned next to him, who is great always. So yeah, he's in Venice. He's hanging out. He's gonna get like a necklace or something for MJ, and suddenly this waterman comes out of the ground, the water, but not the ground. Then like it kind of emerges that Sam Jackson, as Nick Fury, kind of like has been calling him all the way throughout the first third of the film, and yeah, Nick Fury shows up in just like his room. He knocks out Ned. Ned is alive, just about. And it takes them on a journey to this underground facility they've got with Dimitri, who is great.
Yeah.
And they got him and Mysterio. He meets Mysterio, who shows up in the pre-credit scene to a bit in Mexico. So yeah, meets Mysterio. Mysterio explains the plot to them. They go out, and then Peter's obviously like, I don't really want to be here, but I'll help out. And he's got one foot out the door the whole way through. He's kind of figuring out what to do with MJ. And eventually, like they beat the Elementals. And then, like, Spider-Man has a chance to go off to just foist this off to Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio and kind of go, like, okay, have these glasses that Tony Stark gave to me. I've already managed to accidentally kill a person. That's That's fine. You have them. You're probably in better hands. Mysterio then is revealed to be Mysterio. And the best part of this for me is the fact that, like, I was talking to people before the movie, and they were going like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see the multiverse and all this shit. And I was like, fuck off. You know this. This is Mysterio, for fuck's sake, guys. And then he Mysterios.
See, this is almost like the genius of the marketing in a way. With the only genius thing, because Sony fucking suck at doing this, and they put every scene in the fucking I only watched the first trailer, and they showed too much in that. But anyway, the good thing is that following Endgame and following Into the Spider-Verse, talking about a multiverse sounds like something that would happen. If this was not Mysterio, I would have probably been pissed, because I'd be like, you really don't need to fucking do multiverse in these movies. But it's enough to like get people excited and talking, and then even like comic book fans start to doubt, like, oh, maybe they are doing Mysterio as this alternate reality thing. And that's kind of the genius metatextual part of it, because as Mysterio points out, to fucking believe anything at this moment in time, like, I can just say, oh, I don't know, I'm from the multiverse, my wife died, and then people will go with it, and it's great because he's kind of making fun of the audience who believed it.
There's meta commentary going through this entire film, to be honest. Peter's whole like arc with like, do I have to be the next Iron Man? It's like a kind of like a meta commentary, like in parallel to, I think, the general moviegoer going like, do we need to see any more of these Avengers films? Now that Tony Stark is gone, do we really need to do this anymore?
Yeah. And
I feel like that's like the manifestation of that. Moving back to what I was talking about, Mysterio, it turns out he's like a disgruntled like special effects guy, and he's got this whole like team, just like a startup effectively, dedicated to becoming like a superhero. A long story short, Mysterio is bad. Peter goes back to his life, and he kind of realizes through like MJ that this is all a fake. This is all a ruse.
Yeah, the whole thing with Mysterio taking on that role is such a good way to adapt this, because that is kind of that original Mysterio issue, which we talked about in episode 5 when we were going through Mysterio's origins. See, it's not quite the same because he frames Spider-Man in that, but it's this whole thing of him posing as a savior and as a superhero to get all the praise and everything. They're kind of doing that in a way, but expanding it into this whole thing that makes more sense in the MCU. I have mixed feelings on the team. And this is not one of those criticisms of the faults of the film. It's a proper taste thing. And this is going to sound so stupid. Okay. But there was a point when, the way they play that scene as well, where it's them having the heart-to-heart, him getting the glasses from Peter, and Peter leaving, and that whole scene where Mysterio is so comforting and so mature and so calm, and he's almost like, even though most people know that there's going to be a turn, it almost like seduces you into thinking he's a nice guy, because he's really good at playing that role. And then to see him leave and they just linger on him, and then the scene starts to like fade, of like the augmented reality around them starts to change. And I was really surprised then that certain people don't leave the bar, and those are the team that are working with him. And I think it's a great gag, because you said like they'll go through each one of those team members and show how one of them was fucked over by Tony Stark in some way. Yeah. I personally, like, as much as I think that's a funny gag, I would have preferred either the team to be jettisoned at some point, or murdered, or to not be real. There was a point when they all held up their glasses, and I think, again, this is a stupid thing of something I'd change. I wanted them all to be robots. Because fucking, like, I wanted him to be that level of unhinged, of just like, he's got this augmented reality, but he's still gonna have some fucking robots. And that's like, I don't know, that might sound stupid to a lot of people, but Mysterio would do that in the comics, and he would do that in the cartoon and stuff like that. I would have been up for that, and I think as the movie progresses, him having a team, I think, becomes less interesting. And also it eventually changes by the time we get to the end of the movie, obviously, but the fact that all those people were around to know who Peter Parker is,
I feel that's the only reason that they're in the film. That was my thought at the time they showed up.
Yeah.
I was like, there's a lot of people know Spider-Man's identity that's going to come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like if they weren't doing that at the end, I don't think they would have done it the way they did.
But still, since that end thing we're talking about is a bonus thing after the movie, I don't know. That's the whole thing with Jake Gyllenhaal's performance. And I love Mysterio in this. I love the way he's written. I love the way he looks.
I love like the action scenes with him are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I love the way Jake Gyllenhaal plays him.
Yeah.
He's doing like, I remember hearing someone saying like, oh, it was a great idea to get him to do his Okja performance but dial it down by 10%. Unfortunately, I think he's actually dialed it down by about 50 to 60%.
Because his voice is at a recognizable pitch.
Yeah, but the thing is, I want 90% Okja. I want Okja. Okay, not 90%, 80%. Because I don't want the weird thrusting and the mustache and the high pitched Riddler voice. I don't need that.
But you need that intensity.
Yeah, and he does get close to it, and I don't take anything away from it. It is really fucking good. But I would have liked just a little bit more insanity. I would have liked him to be on his own, to just be that extra level of weirdness.
Robots, or they're just not there. They don't exist at all. Level of crazy.
I read a Spider-Man comic today.
Yeah.
Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, number 50.
Number 50, yeah.
Well known for being the issue where it's retconned that in The Amazing Spider-Man issue 2, I believe, the Tinkerer works with aliens.
Yeah.
And we talked about this briefly before, but all the way, this happens so much later.
Yeah.
Going from like 1964 or something, all the way to 1981 or something, where aliens break in and they're trying to like steal Aunt May's money.
Sure.
And then it turns out they're working for Mysterio, because they're like, if we help Mysterio get this money, then he'll help us take over the world, is their plan. And then throughout this, like, Peter Parker's like involved in this and trying to figure out, and then the whole time he's like, why the hell would they go to Mysterio? He's like, Mysterio's kind of like threatening, but he's just a special effects guy. What the fuck are aliens working with him? And he's like, why haven't I seen these aliens since all the way back when I was a teenager and I first met them? And then he just like finds one of them and pulls off their mask. And then he gets the guy to confess. He's like, oh yeah, all of us, including Mysterio, including Quentin, were dressed up as aliens back in that Tinkerer issue, and we faked it all. And then he's pulling the same thing now, but in the interim, he's become Mysterio.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And it's so funny and so ridiculous. And then there's this great thing at the end of it where he saves Deborah Whitman. And they're going away, and he's like, "Oh, Mysterio's dealt with now, you know. Thankfully, we all survived." And then she just goes like, "Yeah, he's just so weird." And it's just like how they end it, which is like, what a
weird guy.
And I'm glad they lent into that a bit. They could have gone even more unhinged with it.
Yeah.
But again, this is proper nitpick. I'm like, I want to get the dial and just turn it up a little bit.
It's like a 10. You want to go to 11.
And also, I'm fully aware that the level he's at now is probably good for most people and maybe too far for some people. But I'm like, crank it up just for me. Yeah. I don't give a shit about anyone else.
Break the dial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean. And it's this point that like Peter kind of goes to MJ. He's like, I'm Spider-Man. Or she figures it out kind of. And then he's like, well, fuck, we've been had. And then there's this whole bit where he's trying to find Nick Fury. But it's not that Nick Fury isn't Nick Fury. It's like Mysterio again. And there's all these different like fake outs and stuff. It's fucking...
Again, this is that elevation because there's a few scenes like it, but specifically when he first fights Mysterio the first time. Yeah. I think that scene is so good. That's so fucking good that again, it's like it almost warps the whole movie around it because it's like, can I be objective about this? Because not only are they doing a villain I love really well, but in a still new way. Yeah. But they're also doing the visuals of it in a really impressive way. I'm on my own on this, I think, but I think the visuals in Doctor Strange are really, really messy. And a lot of people praise that movie for that stuff, but the trippiness of it for me almost... It's some parts, but...
Sometimes it's a bit Inception-like.
Yeah, and the Inception part of Doctor Strange, I think I'd rather just not look at the screen. It's just so much happening, and it feels so weightless that it's kind of...
Clearly CGI.
Yeah, whereas the way they do it here, even though it's so heavily CGI, they really trick you into questioning where he actually is, and you know none of it's real, but it almost doesn't matter.
It's disorienting as hell.
And the scary thing about it is that because there's no grounding, the threats that are coming at him, like for instance, Iron Man's
coming out
corpse,
of the grave,
you know, like stuff like that. When that happens, you're like, obviously that's not real.
But is it dangerous anyway?
But the threat is that you're like, what is happening that we're not seeing? So when they go like hard cut to he's pushed, it's like maybe the fifth time you've seen him fall,
Yeah.
but this time suddenly he smashes into a car. It's like, or he goes to punch something and he punched a wall instead of something. And it's, I mean, there's the comics and there's the animation, everything, but I mean, this is
close.
No, I haven't. And they even like do like there's a tiny little nod. This is one. There's so many fucking comic book things in this movie.
Yeah.
They even do one thing which I swear is just a reference. There's this. I can't remember what issue it is, but maybe it's a Stan Lee Amazing Spider-Man comic, but like a little bit later. I think maybe the second time Mysterio comes around.
Yeah.
Mysterio at one point he really fucks with Spider-Man's head because he doesn't in the first issue he doesn't do it that much. But at one point he really fucks with him and makes him think that he's in a miniature town and that there's like a giant Mysterio above him that's like crashing houses, and the whole time Spider-Man's like he's trying to survive, but he's like, I know this isn't real, but
I don't know what part of it isn't.
yeah, and my spider sense is still going off, so it's really confusing. And they do that. There's just like a quick bit where like a giant Mysterio fist like crashes through a wall and hits him. I swear that is just like leaning like, yeah, remember that comic?
Yeah, just a little like, it's
whole
phenomenally
thing. It's the best. It might be the best. Actually, I don't know. We were talking about the Raimi action and stuff. I actually really like the Raimi action, and I think you got the action of like what is cool, and what is like exciting, and then what it means in the context of the story. I think the Mysterio fight is a really good example of it nailing both of those at the same time.
Okay.
And I think the Raimi ones are often like
the meaning is all there.
The meaning is always that. Like, for instance, that final fight between Green Goblin and Peter Parker, there's not like a lot happening. It's more just like punch, brutal.
Yeah.
It's really brutal, but that hits you.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Even though it's not like cool action.
Yeah, I think the thing with the Raimi films, the fight scenes, like the mid-fight scenes, I think are really well done in the sense that like they tell you a lot about Peter Parker as a character. In the sense that like both times, Spider-Man like he's fighting this guy, but he's also kind of worrying about like Aunt May or about Mary Jane, and getting a shit kicked out of him as a result. All the fight scenes, like especially the first two, they all mean something.
Yeah.
So you know why Peter's like fighting Dr. Octopus because Mary Jane's been kidnapped. He needs to go save her. Yeah. To your point, they're not really very like visually exciting or very like.
I'd say that apart from
the train scene,
which I think I was thinking about the other day. I was thinking about it because I listened to the Waffle Press have got their Spider-Man retrospective that's going on at the moment. I'm going to be on like 2 of the episodes, which I mean will probably be out by the time this comes out.
Yeah, probably
around the same time.
Yeah,
but you guys can check me out on there talking about the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
We love them.
Yeah,
so much.
But they were talking about the train sequence, and they mentioned like it being one of the best superhero action scenes, and I really agree with that sentiment because I think it's brief. They don't go over the top with it, but I just think it's so well choreographed that I don't want to say just because this Mysterio stuff is really good that like this the Spider-Man action has never been like this or whatever, or it's never been this good.
I don't think it's ever been like this for sure.
Well, it's never been like this specifically in terms of actual content because he hasn't been in a situation that is this specific situation. But I think
like the camera work, for example, I think during this movie is good for the fight scenes. The way that like Spider-Man moves with respect to the camera, it's more disorienting. You kind of flip and like dive along with Spider-Man. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the action in this movie was like consistently
above
good.
Average. Yeah,
I'd say just good. And then there's a couple of peaks here and there that like it goes like out in the stratosphere, like the Mysterio fight bits. I do think when you get to that final fight with the drones, I think some of that goes on too long because I think there's a certain point when you're thinking you're following up this amazing scene.
Yeah.
That when the drone fighting is going on for like a few minutes, I start thinking, okay, well this was interesting, but it is now just him fighting drones. Yeah. When the illusions start to fall apart, and then they bring it back again at the end.
Yeah.
But I think it maybe outstays its welcome a tiny bit.
That
but that's
middle part of that fight scene.
Yeah.
I did like that. The only thing I would say for that scene is that you have a bit of like Spider-Man improvising, because that's something that like I think people are looking a bit more of him being a bit outmatched or a bit his web should stop working. The way it seems talking about his web should stop working, and he kind of uses like a shield and like another like drones like weapon to like kill all these drones.
Well, he used the Tower Bridge sign, doesn't he?
Yeah, the Tower Bridge line. Yeah, as like a shield.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing that kind of saved that middle bit for me, because I thought that's a really cool way of.
There's some things I am an easy mark for,
Yeah.
and when he goes like, I'm out of web fluid, or like my web shooters aren't working, even though it's
contrivance.
it's just a contrivance.
Yeah.
It's a contrivance I love, and it's like it's something that happens like every fucking issue in the comics. But I'm just like, when that happened, I was like, thanks,
Yeah.
thanks for putting that one in for me.
I really appreciate that. But yeah, that's
There's so much in this movie that's like that, of just like just peppering in these little things about Spider-Man that I really liked.
That's why I mean, like, the feel of the Spider-Man. It's like most Spider-Man movie. That makes sense.
But that's also like where I wouldn't necessarily say that any of those things make it a good movie, but they make it a movie I'm enjoying. You know, in terms of the Easter eggy, the sprinkling things. I'm not talking about the actual movie, but like so much of those are in there that I think, I don't know, maybe if someone isn't that as into Spider-Man as like we are, then it's gonna play it a lot differently.
Yeah.
But yeah. Where were we anyway?
We were talking about
because we were talking about the action. We talked about him finding out Mysterio.
Yeah. He's getting hit with a train.
That's a great way to. I love any
sequence.
No, I just love trains. Yeah,
Spider-Man and trains.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the train bits of Spider-Man 2. I'm like, wait, why are they on this train? I don't care. I'm just looking at the model number.
Oh, great! Those tracks.
Yeah, but I don't. I like any fight that I like proper low moments in these movies in terms of a character being brought to a low moment, and I think too often in these movies, they know they have to do that, but they just do a really contrived one. It's over quite quickly. Even in like,
you can say Black Panther.
No, even in the first Avengers, they have a low point in terms of when they're all dispersed. Yeah, that's a great low point. But then when they do the big fight at the end, there's a point when they do a low point again, because the fight has gone on so long that it needs its own free act structure. Yeah. And that is a contrived thing of just, we're winning, and then just cut to, they've surrounded Hulk and Iron Man's on the floor and can't get up, and they all just lose at one point for no reason, and then they burst through and survive. Yeah. Sometimes it can feel a bit formulaic. Yeah. The way they did in this was brutal, and I think that's, again, bolstered by Jake Gyllenhaal, and also it's following on the vein, they knew it worked with Michael Keaton, but the fact that he's a kid, and the fact that these are adults that are trying to kill him, leaning into that aspect of it makes it so much more powerful. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's again that
he kind of wants to trust like what he thinks to be Nick Fury, because he wants this whole like first 2 acts of the film is him trying to like palm for responsibility. He kind of feels like a child in an adult situation, and that's like a big like thing throughout the film. And you kind of see that kind of like come back to bite him. Yeah. In that moment. And
I think this worked for me. See, this it's the same. They had that low moment in Homecoming, and that, I think, that doesn't work for me, and it upsets me that doesn't work for me, because I want it to.
Because it really should work.
Yeah, when he's lifting the rubble, everything about the way that is shot and the way that that's scripted up until that point, and how it's dealt with afterwards, doesn't work for me personally. Here it worked. When he's like, even though they play it comedically in the next scene, when he's like he looks really fucked up.
They fuck him, yeah.
And when he's talking to Happy, and he's
broken.
And it's not even that he got beaten up, it's that it was my stupidity that has put the world in danger.
He's got the pressure of being, I have to be the next Iron Man, but I can't handle this one thing.
Yeah, because it's literally like the responsibility of Edith, those glasses were handed to him, and then he gave it to the worst person he could have, because he was too trusting.
And he was too scared to take it on himself.
And again, that probably wouldn't be something he'd do if he was an adult who'd been around the block and was a little bit more cynical. Yeah. But for his age, it made sense, because there was a guy who was there for him when he needed him. Yeah. And of course, why would that guy have any ulterior motives?
And he's looking for that, especially because his mentor and Tony Stark has just died.
Yeah. And it's also an interesting thing of the way he's treated by the authority figures. Yeah. Nick Fury, or at least he's
an asshole in this movie.
He's a dickhead to him, and he's really brutal with him. Everyone else in the S.H.I.E.L.D. thing just like basically don't say anything to him or
treat him like an adult.
The only one who's remotely nice to him is Mysterio. So it's kind of interesting as well to have, like, as a lesson that these authorities don't always know what's best, or just because they act like they know more doesn't mean that you can trust them.
Yeah.
You know? And which is something that you learn when you get older, when you just assume that
Adults know how to all like together and all that. They know what they're doing.
And then you realise, oh wait, some of them are like fucking don't know anything. You know?
Some of them are idiots.
Yeah, some of them are just kids, and then they grew up, and then they started saying they were adults.
Yeah.
See, that's just the best bit of the movie for me. That entire sequence start as just like what it does to him.
I think it's executed perfectly, honestly. So yeah, he gets hit by the train. He kind of like passes out in the train, and he wakes up and he's in jail. He breaks out of jail, and he calls Happy to pick him up, and then Happy.
Well, we're going to talk about Netherlands a little bit.
The Netherlands, yeah.
Yeah.
The Netherlands like football team.
The fact that like, do you think the Netherlands tourism board paid this movie?
150%.
We were definitely, when I was looking at the credits, it was pointing out to me like how much like collaborations were made with different film boards from different countries across Europe, and you're like, man, they saved some money on this movie.
They cut that budget down.
And again, like, it's not, they don't go, like, he doesn't go buy a baguette in France or anything. It's never like
that
on the
overt.
nose. But then when they get to Netherlands, and it's just everyone is super nice and they speak English and everyone's really trusting.
There's like there's a season 9. He says like, "Oh yeah, you guys speak really good English."
Yeah, it is kind of, it's a great detail, but at the same time, like,
it was like they were definitely like commissioned. There was someone who was like, "You have to say this in the movie."
Have you ever heard of? I'm not sure how to say exactly, but Svarte Piet?
Yes, the blackface festival.
Yeah, do you think that they could have included that in this movie?
Oh my god, that'd be so funny.
Because again, Netherlands very happy to have themselves presented as this
Tolerant,
quaint little place with like lots of nice people helping out and these tulips and a beautiful
very
fields.
tolerant and like easygoing people.
Yeah, and then like Peter Parker just like waits up. You once down the street and there's a festival of people in blackface walking by him. I'm not making this up. This is a real thing in the Netherlands.
Search it up. We can put it in like the episode notes. Because Swarte Piers is an actual thing. My roommate is Dutch, and she is not happy about it.
Yeah. It's like a Christmas thing, isn't it?
It's like a whole like thing they do like every year.
I remember someone, a Dutch person, or someone who was like Dutch heritage, telling me about it, and I just thought they were making it up, and they had to tell me it like 10 times before. I was
it's
like,
an actual blackface festival,
and it's happening now.
Yeah.
God, but that doesn't turn up in this movie.
There's no blackface in this movie. Thankfully.
Yeah, maybe a deleted scene.
There's technically like the end credit scene. The second one is a blackface scene. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
So Peter like calls it Happy. He comes in on his jet and he breaks down. He's like, "Fuck, I fucked up. I'm never gonna live up to Iron Man. I did all this." What you were saying before about people like not really knowing what they're doing, that's kind of like made manifest by what Happy says, where he's like, "Fucking Iron Man was second guessing everything he did."
Yeah, they really handled the Iron Man stuff really well, which is again why I'm saying it best of a bad situation, because I don't want the Iron Man stuff to be such a big presence in this, but
it's the ghost of Iron Man.
Yeah, but it does, and it's not overwhelming, and it is like keying into like these basic parts of Iron Man. The snippets of him you get is him making a joke about the fact that he's dead, with Edith being even dead I'm the hero. Great joke. And the idea that he says, like he was a mess, and it's another one of those things where that could have been a huge monologue, but just by saying it in short words of he was a mess, really makes you think, looking back on those movies, of like, well, you followed them and he wasn't in control. He was trying.
An alcoholic.
He was trying to control and he was failing, and that was kind of his legacy in a way. And it's another interesting thing of like growing up and being like waiting, just waiting for that point where you become an adult and that things start working and that what's going on, and it's like you get the hand of some things, but you
never really have a full handle on anything.
No, and you just keep pretending to know what's going on until you kind of know, and then eventually someone asks you what's going on and you tell them your estimation of an answer.
You say it very confidently, but there's your estimation. Really.
Yeah, so there is some good stuff in here in terms of that. And then from there, he does the whole suit up thing.
Yeah.
This is the weird thing with Sony marketing. Why did they make all the marketing about this new suit when the way it's played in this movie is they were building up the creation of this suit so much in the movie that I thought, oh god, and he was like looking at all these different designs of previous Spider-Man suits, and I was like, is he gonna make some kind of combo new suit? Is it gonna be I really thought, is this gonna be like a suit from the comics that they haven't done before. Like, are they going to do that silver Spider-Man armor that he created, or or a different type of Iron Spider thing? I was like, "Ooh, what are they going to do?" And then he does the red and black one, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's the one that was in all the marketing and they pushed super hard and was on every single poster." Part of me was like, "Oh right, okay." Like, I wish they hadn't made that the whole marketing push.
Because it would have been a nice surprise, or a nice thing to look forward to.
Yeah,
and you knew what was coming at that point.
Yeah, but I'd forgotten about that suit actually. But I just kind of at that point, the way they built it up, I was like, oh, I assume this is meant to be a big surprise for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, the suit I do think looks good.
It looks cool, yeah.
It looks good in a way that I know they're doing it because they get to make 3 different toys every movie to sell, but I don't mind them changing the suit up throughout the movies in the same way they did with Iron Man.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a really funny critic response to Infinity War that described it as the MCU as a series of films developing how fast Tony Stark can get dressed. And I found that it's so funny. Because
he gets he starts with a whole
thing.
He goes to a briefcase, he goes to a watch, and he doesn't even need the watch at some point.
Yeah, but there is an element of that, but I think it's fine with this, and I like that new design. But
I like it as natural. It's not. I don't like the nanobots. I hated the nanobots.
No, I don't
so much.
I don't like. I like that they found an excuse to not do Iron Spider, but it has to be stored in that weird ass zero gravity case thing, so that it's I'm just not gonna pack it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he didn't go back to it for the finale.
Yeah.
Oh, talking about the Iron Spider suit, actually, this might just be me, but I think they changed the Iron Spider design slightly.
I wasn't paying attention.
Because, I had minor complaints about it. I think it looked better in this movie, and I think they incorporated a little bit more of that traditional comic one. We talked about this a little bit in the Spider-Man's Infinite Endgame episode.
Yeah.
Because we spoke about the Iron Spider suit from the Civil War comic and how they changed it a bit for the movie. And for reasons we kind of understood, I think we had slight disagreement about which would have been better.
Yeah.
But this one I think kind of incorporated more of the comic ones, because there was a bit more the gauntlets on it were more gold and bigger, and the colouring seems more brighter. And I don't know if that's because the Russos just shoot it differently or something, but
I didn't notice, but I wasn't looking.
It wasn't a huge difference. No. It was definitely the same general design, but it just looked better to me. So that was good. What did you think of the new suit anyway?
I really like the new suit. Obviously red and blue is the traditional one.
There is some basis in it. When you look at the old Steve Ditko drawings,
it was originally black, wasn't it?
Well, it's one of those things where it's hard to say, because it could be a super dark blue because it's the way they coloured things back then. It was limited colouring. Yeah. But it did become more and more light blue as they got further out of the 60s in the comics. And then it became light blue for forever, And obviously those are more friendly colours for kids or whatever, so you can see why maybe they stuck with it.
Yeah.
But it was very dark blue quite early on. So making it black doesn't actually detract from it. And I like the way, I think the actual design of the way the red plays into the black looks better than the other suit.
Yeah, the Homecoming suit, there's a lot of black design that doesn't really fit with the rest of the costume.
Yeah, I think that's probably it actually, because those black bands that appear everywhere just kind of stand out in a really weird way. It looks good, but in the same way as in I'm happy for the next movie to have a slightly different one again. And them to just keep workshopping it, because
or keep tweaking them and having different versions of the same one.
Yeah, or for them to do the next time they do it and it's a slightly different shade of red and a different shade of blue, and
it's like having it's like football teams have a different version of the same kit for every season, where it's the same colours but there's different designs of the colours, or there's different shades of the same colours, and it's a new thing to mark every different Spider-Man movie, and I thought I really appreciated it. And it's got little things for example, the little spider armpits he has.
Didn't they have those in the other movie?
No,
I'm pretty sure he had them in Homecoming, because he glides from the Washington Monument.
Oh yeah, he does, doesn't he?
He glides over the helicopter and then swings back to get through the window.
Yeah.
But then he clearly re-added them.
Yeah.
And upgraded them in some way.
Yeah.
That was good. I'm all for that. Because that again, that was one of those things that they added in the comics. But I think having him glide in the comics visually just looks kind of dumb.
Looks stupid as
so
hell.
So he ended up just having them there for no reason, and then they just got rid of them, and then he never had them again. Yeah. Whereas in this, having him like glide over something and then use that momentum to swing worked really well.
It looked really cool.
Pause. I really need a pee.
Okay, go. You go. All right.
And I'll just edit this out.
Go.
And we'll just remember.
No, keep this in. Keep this in for the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll just bring the mic with me.
Yeah. So yeah, as we in the ending, like, so he's fighting all these drones. Some really cool camera work done, like with him swinging around, like fighting all these drones. I think the action in these Spider-Man films has gotten better with each film.
I think even you see that stuff in. I know this is weird, but I'm trying to find some positivity in them. Amazing Spider-Man movies has some good CGI in the way Spider-Man moves.
Yeah.
Part of that is because the CGI's just gotten better, but they have the way he moves in this is good.
Yeah. And it helps that Tom Holland's an actual like acrobat compared to like.
Yeah, well, I don't think he did some of the swinging around drones over Tower Bridge though. I think that might have been computer generated.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's not rule it out. But I think like with like some of the jumps with the lands, it kind of feels more streamlined. Whereas like with the Raimi films, like whenever like Peter Parker was about to go into like a swing, he turns into a rubber band, turns into like a cartoon. And that's obviously because of the times, but like obviously now it's as good as it can.
You know what? The thing I like about this that I think wasn't present in Infinity War or Endgame and wasn't in it enough in Homecoming is him in the suit actually on the scene.
Yeah.
Because so much of like, and Civil War actually, I think it's a Russo thing maybe. These Marvel movies spend a lot of time CGIing suits on people.
Yeah.
And they've done it loads with Spider-Man. I think it works in some contexts when you need him to be, but
having him just here,
there's a lot more of him practically in the suit here, and it looks so much better. And that's why
so much better.
And that's why when they do it in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 and in some of the Raimi movies, when he's actually in costume on scene talking, it's great when you've got a good costume. So I really like that they didn't lean too hard on the CGI this time, and they did in certain scenes, but then
like whenever they didn't have to, they weren't.
What's it going to bring my costumes again? Mysterio's costume I love. What do you think about the fact that the suit, he has his practical suit as well, but for a lot of it, he's wearing like the mocap suit.
Yeah. For the final battle.
Where the costume is mapped to him, and he's got a version of the dome, but it's almost like a.
Yes, it's a very mocap version of the dome.
He looks like he's filming for The Last of Us Part 2.
He looks like Andy Serkis.
Yeah, he looks like Troy Baker, you know, like. But yeah, I love that. Again, it's a new version of thing for the character, but I loved it.
As like a film adaptation goes, it's fantastic. Yeah.
What do you think of that final confrontation once they're face to face?
Oh, I loved it.
See, that for me, that whole fight starts off kind of good, gets kind of samey with the drone fighting, and
I think it picks up when he gets the shield, the Welcome Tower Bridge, that thingy. He improvises. He runs out of shooters. That's what it picks up for me.
That's also like 30 seconds before the confrontation anyway. But yeah, that final confrontation for me is great because they do the whole like hallucinatory illusion thing again, but they don't do it over the top. They've already done their long hallucination scene.
Yeah.
Let's just have a really quick one. And then that's when, as if like, I know we talked about the spider sense before. He fucking had them in these movies. We didn't need to be told.
We call it. It's not Spider Sense. It's Peter Tingle.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's Peter Tingle. Holy shit, man! His spider sense has a character arc in this movie for some reason. I don't know if Peter does as much, but his spider sense does.
Yeah.
Him closing his eyes and fighting through this.
Yeah.
Is a great emotional small moment after all the explosive stuff. I wish they'd strip back on some of that a little bit more, but that was a great ending to it.
And like the actual like final like gunshot there, I was like, that should be by surprise.
Yeah, like when he tries to shoot him.
He kind of just like doesn't look
that.
at him.
Yeah, that almost like when it first happened, I actually didn't quite know what had happened because they kind of shot it a little bit weird.
I think intentionally though.
I think they might have highlighted it slightly more for my taste. Still, it was shocking because it was kind of because I think when it first happened, I thought he'd been shot by a drone or something. Yeah, that was great. And again, that brutal thing of. This is a kid. You just tried, and it's not even like you tried to like punch him. You tried to shoot him in the head,
point blank.
Yeah, and then that was that's the end of Mysterio. ... Question mark. Bring him back, please.
Please bring him back.
He's the only one you're allowed to do this with. Yeah. I don't care how he dies. Bring him back.
If you have to like General Zod, you have to like reanimate him. Say time travel even.
Yeah. that's the great thing as well when he puts the glasses on and he's looking at his body and he's like, is he dead? Like, and he's really questioning his reality, and you can tell it's still got this lasting effect on him. Excellent
and
stuff.
then like Edith is like, no, there's no illusions left.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fantastic. So yeah, that's the end of the Tower Bridge scene. It's like that ending was really, really good.
Yeah. And then the rest of it is kind of
just like teenage stuff where like, oh my
wrapping
god.
up. I mean, I don't know if there's much to say about it. I mean, it's good. I like the kiss because it's a very kid kiss.
It's such a kid kiss. I was gonna say the whole like kid arc with him and MJ. Like, it's not as like the chemistry isn't there with like Emma Stone and like Andrew Garfield. It's not that kind of like relationship, but it's such like a I've been that age. I've had that kind of thing.
It's not this chemistry in that, man, these guys look like they want to fuck. Like with Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield, because they actually did want to fuck.
They were like, as soon as like camera stopped rolling, they were like, we're gonna go fuck now.
Yeah.
It was so like, I felt it.
Yeah, and it's almost like they're forcing it because they like each other,
but they don't know how to like express that yet.
Yeah, and I also like that MJ isn't an adaptation of Mary Jane.
She's her own character.
She's completely different to Mary Jane.
Yeah.
She's not an adaptation of any character, but she also feels like her own thing still. They haven't like, it's not a cookie character, a cookie cutter character or a cookie character.
No,
but
he hasn't tried to eat her yet. Maybe she's made of cookies this entire time.
Yeah, but that whole ending, it's good. Just kind of wrapping up. There was a thing where they with Flash, where they briefly show him sort of turning up at the airport after being like a dick the whole movie, being left by his parents. And that, for me, is a gag or whatever, but it kind of actually bummed me out because I was like, oh, that makes me... Maybe they're doing the next movie or something. But it made me think, oh, I kind of wish Flash got some stuff in this.
Yeah.
You know? Because I like the idea, and they've done it in other shows, and they've done it in the comics, obviously, but I like the idea of redeeming a character like that and humanizing them.
Yeah.
And having just that little moment. I almost wish they didn't have it, because then it just made me think like, oh, why didn't you have more with him? Why didn't you conclude the arc? Why didn't he have any interactions with Peter other than saying like, what up, dickwad, or whatever? Yeah. You know, and I kind of wish there was a bit more. And that's what I was saying about the supporting characters a bit, in terms of they all had their funny moments, but they
didn't have many of those kind of moments.
And MJ and Ned were the only ones who really sort of had any kind of meaningful interaction with Peter, and Ned's was mostly plot or joke.
Yeah. And there was also Brad as well.
But that was like an antagonist. I don't know, I would have liked... You know what, I'm saying all this, but I would have liked more Flash is what I'm saying. Especially
I think this version of Flash is the best version of Flash we've had.
That's a low bar. That's the lowest fucking bar in the world.
But I like the idea of him, rather than being this big buddy person, he's just someone's kind of just an arsehole to Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I like this version of him better.
Well, I think it's
more realistic, I guess, for a school setting, for one.
I love that actor. I think Tony Revolori or something like that.
I think
but yeah, he's great. Want more of him.
Yeah.
I want him to play in somehow, especially since he has been highlighted in these last two movies. And I think there's something to play on there. They did touch on it this time. Yeah. I hope they do it properly next time, or more so next time. The
problem with, I think, Spider-Man as a movie in general is that it works so much better as a TV series.
Yeah, that is true, but also you don't have to have these elements, if you know what I mean. Like, if you're not gonna do something with them. Like, I enjoyed Flash in this movie. If he wasn't in it,
if he had less Flash, or like
if he had no Flash, I wouldn't have like cried about it. I wouldn't have been that bad about it. But so if you're gonna include him, I'd prefer them to do more with him. And it did feel like they had quite a big supporting cast that weren't there to do a whole lot. The two teachers as well, who were both comic relief and both funny, but I was like, do we need two comic relief teachers if neither of them are gonna actually do anything?
Martin Starr had his moments, and like I like the little like bits of his sad life we got, like with like the blip where it's like, yeah, my wife, she pretended she got blip, but she actually just ran away with somebody else.
The whole thing with when he drops his camera.
Yeah,
that might be my favorite joke in the movie.
Yeah,
it should be the worst joke, because it's the minute he does it, the minute he tries to balance his camera, you know what's going to happen. You know the punchline. But the way it's played and the length of that joke,
because he goes to such great extents to go like, is it safe? It's good.
Yeah,
and he's like, you can see it as he takes a pose. He's kind of very wary of the camera. He's like, please don't fall. You can't really enjoy the shot as soon as it's done.
That's all on him. He's really good.
Martin Starr is he's a fantastic actor anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, he brings it. JB Smooth isn't really in it much. He has one good, like, classic JB Smooth line where they're, like, going out of, like, I think the London airport or whatever, and he talks to Brad about, like, taking pictures of people in the bathroom.
All right.
Did you miss that bit?
I was peeing.
That's the bit, because he has this whole, like, thing of, like, JB Smooth is, like, talking to him, like, yeah, just do what you want, man, just don't do that shit anymore. And I'm not doing it properly, but it's a very JB Smooth way of delivering the line.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I have my JB Smooth, I'm happy.
Yeah.
That's all I needed from this movie. And he might have just been there as a curveball to say, like, he might have been J. Jonah Jameson, for all we know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not angry about him being in it. I do like him.
He's just not really does it. I really think if it was like a Netflix or a Disney Plus TV show of this Spider-Man, like, universe, I watched the fuck out of that.
Yeah, well, that's, to be honest, like you said, a lot of these comics are like this, but a lot of these heroes are like this, but it's made for long-form storytelling.
Yeah.
Some more than others, but Spider-Man always works. And that's why it was a shame that Spectacular Spider-Man got cancelled. It was a shame why Spider-Man the Animated Series got cancelled, because, like, seeing these things develop over time is good.
Mr. Fury, this all seems like big time. You know, huge superhero kind of stuff. And, I mean, I'm just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, sir.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
What are your, like, sort of final thoughts on the movie?
Talking about it now, like, I felt that same glee that, like, I felt in the cinema, and having talked about it, I'd be interested to see your like, criticisms of it, because I feel like everything I thought back at the time, maybe not to the extent, but I was like, I like what they did with Peter Parker, I like the way he kind of reacted to things, I like the character. I thought that was all done really, really well, and the story was much tighter this time around than it was in Homecoming.
I think in talking about it more, it's starting to get the edge on Homecoming.
Yeah.
I just think it's at a lower ceiling for itself.
I think the stakes are lower.
The emotional state. I also think, again, it feels like a detour, feels like a really fun detour, feels like best of a bad situation in that it's having to deal with all the endgame stuff and having to deal with Tony Stark and having to shoulder all this responsibility of bullshit.
Yeah.
While also trying to do a Spider-Man movie. And I think it handled that really well, but I think there's constraints on itself, you know, like if they were doing something similar but without any of that stuff to lead up to. Also, if they got a chance to explore anything with Aunt May, you know, like, this is a sequel to Endgame Spider-Man, this isn't a sequel to Homecoming Spider-Man, because Homecoming ended on the cliffhanger of, oh no, Aunt May knows, and
she's barely, like,
now she just knows.
It's
you know,
just
it's just a thing. So
yeah.
again, the absence of dealing with that isn't a negative. It's just that you've left that on the table, and you kind of had to because of the circumstances. But it's all these things sort of add up and prevent it from becoming like one of the top tier Spider-Man movies for me. And I can understand personally how someone could see those elements and that could annoy them enough that they're feeling more negative than me. And I can see how people could see those good elements and like them then be more of a big deal to them and then like it more than me. I've ended up kind of falling in the middle. Still really like it, but like, again, that more like the 7 out of 10 sort of thing rather than your like super high rating.
Like
but then
8.
It's still like a really good rating and still something I'd watch again.
I kind of have a question. I was listening to a podcast the other day about The Amazing Spider-Man. With that film, for example, like, do you think, had we come into that cold, as in, there's no Raimi verse at all, we have the first Spider-Man movie and it's The Amazing Spider-Man, do you think your opinions on the film would have changed?
On The Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because a lot of the stuff in The Amazing Spider-Man is repetitions of things that had happened in other movies but done worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would definitely be affected. Also, there's the fact of the first time you get to see something, you like it more. Mm-hmm. I don't know, if I was seeing Mysterio for the second time in this movie, I'd be less excited than I am. Mm-hmm. You know? Obviously that stuff plays into it. I do think The Amazing Spider-Man sucks ass and is awful in like every single way.
Yeah, it's not a good film.
So yeah, it would have still been really bad. It would have just seemed a bit fresher.
And you probably would have liked it more.
Liked it more, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's an issue with these movies. When these criticisms, this is why I said early on, I don't want to compare it to Raimi. I don't want to compare it to that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not putting that stuff on the table with this.
No.
And that's the shame, is that, to be honest, that because I like those, I feel like anyone who really likes Spider-Man 1 and 2 whenever they make any kind of criticism of the newer Spider-Man movies, it's like, oh, it's just because you love that other stuff and it can never match up or whatever. And it's like, I'm still like taking these on as their own movies.
No, like, maybe not with you, but I think you can't be too critical. Like, you can be critical of the film. For example, like, him kind of giving up his identity again quite carelessly to MJ is something that I had a little bit of, like, a issue with. In that a lot of Spider-Man is about him, like, having to, like, balance his double life. And they don't do it as, like, much as maybe, like, I guess I would have, or other people would have liked. But I also think it's really, really, like, hard to kind of look at a Spider-Man film in isolation, you know?
I don't know. I don't find it hard anymore.
No.
The only way it really affects me is that there's a lower expectation because there were 3 Spider-Man movies in a row that were disappointments in different ways. So I think that obviously that's going to change, and there's been a lot of Spider-Man movies, so there's a level of fatigue and show me something new. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I'm like, I don't go in and every time something happens be like, oh, I wish they were doing this like this movie. Especially since I'm reading the comics, and the comics are played in some of these movies in some ways, and there's still so much in the comics that hasn't been done in these movies. Yeah. You know, this kind of fits into like some of the ways this movie adapts stuff, because there's so much little stuff. You know, Ned Leeds. Yeah. Right. He's kind of this weird amalgam in the in like Homecoming and Far From Home.
He's based off a character in the Miles Morales comic, correct?
Yeah, called Gank.
Yeah. Like, sorry, Gank?
Ganky? I don't know how to say his
Either
name.
of those things. Okay, sure.
Ganke.
Gank? Okay, Ganker. Either way.
He's basically that character, but then they just gave him the name Ned, based on a guy who worked at the Bugle who dated Betty Brant. Mm-hmm. And eventually they got married. Betty Brant is Spider-Man's first love in the comics, who in these new movies is just another girl he goes to school with. Yeah. So those two hooking up in this movie is a nod to that. In a fun way, happens obviously completely different. Yeah. But like that's just kind of a nice way to like throw that out there. The fact that you've got the way Spider-Man always beats Mysterio in the comics, especially in that first one, is I can't trust my senses. I need to use my spider sense. They make that the culmination of the movie. Yeah. Great idea. Then there's like we said about Mysterio, like sort of taking on a superhero role. Yeah. I don't know. There's lots of like mini things like that. I can't remember any of them now because there were so many of them.
And imagine this is going to take another like episode of worth the podcast.
But anyway, now we've talked forever about
for
this.
Literally days.
We have one more big topic to talk about, and it's going to have to be another fucking podcast.
Because we'll be here for fucking ever otherwise. Yeah. You guys need to go to sleep and like see your families.
Yeah, I'm going to... I might just edit out everything I say.
Just have me talking to myself.
Yeah, it'll be a lot shorter. So
how funny it would be if I was Mysterio this whole time and you just were a robot that I just have to like talk to during these podcasts.
Yeah, I listen to a Mysterio podcast.
Genuinely, yeah.
But next time, well, say next time, it's probably going to be out around the same time. But like in the next podcast, we're going to talk about post-credit scenes because there's a lot to unpack there. But then beyond the post-credit scenes, what that can mean for like other Spider-Man movies and stuff like that,
and also the MCU as well.
Yeah, because we're at the end of the Infinity Saga or whatever now.
Yeah, Phase 4 begins in earnest. That was the end of a very long podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you had a great time. We had a great time watching Far From Home. Even better time talking about it, and we hope you did too. Please scroll slightly up for the next episode of this, where we'll talk about the end credit scene. But yeah, otherwise, thanks for your time. Sayonara. Go about your lives now. Stay true, believin'.